Number is an idea. A numerical expression is often called a numeral and is a single symbol or a collection of symbols that designates a particular number. We say that the number designated by the value of the expression. All of the following numerical expressions designate the positive number 3, and we say that each of these expressions have a value of positive 3. Positive. So, we have agreed that a number can be designated by a numeral preceded by a plus sign or without a sign. So, we can write positive 3 either with a plus sign on it, on the left of it, or on the front, or just without it. Both of these are positive 3, but the number 0 is neither positive nor negative and can be designated with a single symbol, which is just 0. You cannot add a positive sign or a negative sign on it. Every other real number is either positive or negative and can be thought of as having two qualities or parts. One of the parts is designated by the plus sign or the minus sign. The other part is designated by the numeral part of the numeral, so positive and negative. So every real number is either one of these. So to designate a negative number, you're just gonna add the minus sign. So we say that this part of the numeral designates the absolute value of the number. It is difficult to find a definition of absolute value that is acceptable to everyone. Some people object to saying that the absolute value is the same thing as the bigness of a number because bigness might be confused with a concept of greater than, which is used to other numbers. Some explain absolute values by saying that all non-zero numbers can be paired with each with its opposite, and that the absolute value is either is the positive member of the pair. Thus, positive 3 or negative 3 are a pair of opposites and both have a value, an absolute value of 3. Other people prefer to define the absolute value of a number as the number that describes the distance of the graph. So let's make a graph here. So center one should be 0. So our origin here is 0. So we're gonna graph 3, negative 3, and positive 3. So if we use this definition, so they have the distance of 3. Both of them are 3 units long. So if we use this definition, we see that the graphs of positive 3 and negative 3 are both 3 units from the origin. So both numbers have an absolute value of 3. Some people feel that words should not be defined the absolute value because absolute value can be defined exactly by using only symbols and using two vertical lines to indicate the absolute value. So, like this example, we have x. So to indicate an absolute value, you're just gonna put two lines on each side of the variable or numeral. So this definition is in 3 parts. So if x is greater than 0, the absolute value of x is equal to x. And if x is equal to 0, the absolute value of x is also x. So unfortunately, the third part can be confusing. So if x is less than 0, the absolute value of x is negative x. So the third part does not say that the absolute value of x is a negative number. it says that if x is a negative number, the absolute value of x is the opposite of x. Since negative 15 is a negative number, its absolute value is its opposite. So here, so as I said earlier, that if x is less than 0, it will be the absolute value of x is a negative number. So let's say this is x. Let's say 15 is x. Now, so we have a negative sign here and x. So we're gonna replace x with the x here, which is negative 15. Now, negative times negative is positive, so it will come as positive 15. In the same way, if we designate the absolute value of an algebraic expression such as the absolute value of x minus 2, and x has a value such that x plus 2 is a negative number, then the absolute value of the expression will be the negative of the expression. So for example, if x plus 2 is less than 0, so it will equal to negative on the outside, then x plus 2. Then the absolute number of the expression will be the negative of the expression. So to demonstrate, let's give x a value like negative 5. So for example, let's make x negative 5. Negative 5. Now, so negative 5 plus 2, I mean, since I forgot this should be plus. So for example, negative 5 plus 2. So negative 5 plus 2 is what? It's negative 3. Now, let's do it like the same on I did here. This. So, the absolute value of negative 3, so negative 3 is less than 0. So, negative x is the outcome. So, we're gonna put negative 3 on the parentheses because that's our x. Now, negative times negative is positive. So, 3 is the answer of this expression. So the answer is 3, positive 3. No matter how we think of absolute value, we must remember that the absolute value of 0 is 0. So the absolute value of 0 always is 0. And that the absolute value of every other real number is a positive number. So like for example, negative 5, so it will always comes positive. Positive 5, it will always comes positive. Negative 2.5, it will always come always on positive. So if you're a bit confused, well, this is just a bit of a review, and I know it's a bit confusing, but just understand that any absolute value, any number, either positive or negative, that is inside an absolute value, that means it will always comes out positive, except a negative sign outside it. So when there's a negative sign on the absolute value, so it will on mean the negative sign is on the outside, so it will always go on negative since there's a negative sign. And if there's also a negative sign outside and it's a negative number, it will come negative. So I hope you understand this topic about absolute values.